Good evening, Franklin Township. Welcome to day 3 of our. I don't know if I'd call it coverage, but our I guess coverage of the Democratic National Convention, or as I like to say, the Democratic Love Fest, going on down over in Chicago. I'm Bill Bowman, the editor and co-publisher of the Franklin Reporter. I'm joined by PJ Parker, the advertising director and co-publisher of the FRA, and Ed Potosnak, who of course is our deputy mayor and who is also a Democratic delegate to the convention. Mr. Deputy Mayor, how you doing?
I'm doing great. I'm doing great. A little tired today. This is day 3. I have to say, I woke up a little froggy throat, and I didn't have a coffee because I wanted to see if I could take a nap. After I did some work, so I didn't want to be too caffeinated. So I did take a little shut eye, but I'm dragging a little, but I'm excited with adrenaline for all the speakers that came out today, the energy in the room, the great performances. I think it was just incredible.
Mm-hmm.
Go ahead, Paige. Richard.
Well, with all of the speakers, I think everybody was formidable. Pete Buttigieg was off the page.
Yeah, Mayor Pete did a great job.
Oh my God, I saw him. He was my secret candidate for VP, but for all the reasons, I think Tim Walz will be a good job. Will be a good VP. I was so blown away by Oprah Winfrey. And with so much that she has to say to contribute as a woman and as a Black woman, but her central thought that has been the way I've always positioned myself. A lot of folks took a little heat today about favoring the Democratic Party as opposed to the Republican Party, and I don't talk about the fact that I am a registered Republican. It's nobody's business, quite honestly. And at the Franklin Reporter and Advocate, we have never endorsed a party or a candidate, and we don't intend to start now. It's our efforts to remain neutral and positioned to tell the story as it is, as opposed to our feelings about it. So that part of it, to me, Oprah's central message was that you vote your values. You vote your conscience. You vote who you are, who you see as the best human, viable, real, genuine, authentic candidate to meet the needs of not just your consciousness, but the consciousness of your neighbor. And we are all each other's neighbor. She touched me in such a way, not just because she was bold and dynamic, but that was the heart of it. You be who you are. You trust who you are. And therefore, in that trust, you trust others to be who they genuinely are as well. And if we trust in our hearts like that, we've got such a formidable opportunity right now. And you're right in the heart of it, Ed. And you're right in the heart of it on a lot of personal levels as well. I don't know if you wish to discuss any of your personal feelings on whatever levels, but this is historic. No matter the outcome, this has been the most historic convention that I've ever witnessed because of the humanity, the authenticity. Just been extraordinary.
I appreciate that. If you hear chanting in the background, that's Minnesota. They're doing chants from the football team.
Wow.
Coach Walz had, I don't know if you saw that moment where all the former football players came up there. They're back down now with the delegates. They're chanting, "We want Tim." I think they did the school chant. It's pretty exciting. As a former teacher myself, I can tell you that bond that you have with students when you're an advisor or a coach is pretty special. It's important. And when you see them go on to do other things, it's pretty cool. As someone who went into politics, you never really expect them to show back up and support you. But for me, my first race, I had 2 former students show up to my announcement.
Wow.
And it was really cool. And I've stayed in touch with them. They went into political science. I was a chemistry teacher. So when I got into politics, they showed up, and it's really heartwarming. I can't imagine every single one of them is a Democrat, to your point, PJ. Maybe only the Democratic members of the team showed up, but they're supporting their coach because their coach supported them. And I think all in all, what I was picking up from tonight, besides that moment that I really loved as a teacher, is that we're looking to elect Kamala Harris and Tim Walz because they're going to look out for everyone, and they're going to respect everyone, divergent views on things. I mean, Tim Walz is a hunter. That's not your normal sort of caricature that folks would say about Democrats, that they actually pick up a gun, have a gun, know how to use a gun, go hunting. But many Democrats do. And so to be able to tell that story with Coach Walz, I think, hits home that this is not an extremist view to want to get weapons of mass destruction and mass murder out of our schools, because the number one cause of death for our youth over anything else is gun violence, death by guns for children in our schools. So we can change that with practical common sense laws that are well supported. That's what we're here to talk about. And I think they did such a great job in laying out his history. And I just say, you didn't ask me this question, but that was one moment that stood out. And then when his son was sobbing.
Oh, that was extraordinary.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So would that be the takeaway for you for tonight? The Tim Walz, obviously that was the main event, but was there any other speech or anything that happened tonight that sort of will stick with you?
Yeah, tonight I think the theme was freedom. I didn't know I was supposed to wear pink, but I put on a pink tie. Freedom to make healthcare decisions for women, reproductive freedoms, not having to choose between a mom and an unborn child that may or may not be viable. These are really tough decisions that I can't make as an elected official. I don't think any elected official should be making for moms or dads, as we saw. And I think that's really what the theme was. And I did love having Oprah. It was the only picture I stood up to get Oprah in the background of any of the folks that were here. It's the closest I've ever been to her. I will say, as soon as she stood up, I said to everyone, "Look under your chairs. There's a house. You're gonna get a house." And people started looking under their chairs, and I was like, "I'm just kidding." And just how she, lifted up her arms and said, "Hello, Kamala." Like she was being herself. She has quite a reputation. She's dealt with a lot. She's talked about hard topics for a long time on her show. So that was another piece that it just stood out for me. It was kind of, pinch me, I'm here with Oprah.
That's fine. Wow. What'd you think?
You get there with Oprah. I love it. That sounds like a campaign theme.
What'd you think of Clinton's speech?
He was good. I mean, sir, I don't think he was reading it.
So he wasn't. No, he memorizes those things. There's I don't know if it's true. I don't know if this is just I don't know if this is a myth or not, but what I had heard shortly after, I forget what year it was, after during one of his State of the Union speeches, the teleprompter, according to the story, the teleprompter broke.
Oh my!
Froze. But he had the speech memorized.
Right.
Wow.
And he just kept going. So
yeah.
He's a very intelligent man. I mean, he's a Rhodes Scholar, for Pete's sakes. He's very intelligent.
No, so that part was really incredible. I think he did a good job explaining. He told a few good jokes, but he also just made it clear that if you're a Democrat, a Republican, or an independent, particularly folks that aren't Democrats, that aren't automatically voting for Kamala, there's a place for you in this ticket, and that we're going to look out for you into the future. That your needs, that's what a public servant does, wakes up every day and thinks about how they can help people, not help themselves. And I think what everybody knows, and in New Jersey, with Trump's golf course being there and the third or fourth vacation home, we know that he cares about himself first and primarily. I mean, you look at Melania and him together, you wonder what kind of relationship they have. And that, I'm editorializing, but, where is that love that we saw with Tim's son? That connection, that care.
Yes.
He walks away from his children. Just it's very unusual. It seems like a business relationship, and this was very human to me. And I think Bill Clinton laid that out pretty clearly, and again extemporaneously, which was kind of impressive. It was a little long, I'd say too.
Well, yeah,
he had a lot of pauses. So, but he rallied at the end. He got us all up on our feet, so that was awesome.
He's known for making very long speeches. He loves.
He lived up to it.
He's the Leo that goes to the territory. I think one that I'm taking away from this is that, yes, this is the Democratic convention, but there is so less an emphasis on the fact that it is the Democrats versus the Republicans. We're not talking about a title of an organization or a title of a philosophy. We're getting to the heart of the fact that we are all in this policy together. We're all under this umbrella, no matter what you call it, pineapple. It doesn't really matter. you're labeling oneself or yourself or themselves as Democrat or Republican. What does that even mean? Does that ascribe you to a certain set of beliefs and a certain set of behaviors that is injurious to others, as long as your own needs in that? I think it just is a falsehood to continue to just divide us by the naming of where I'm a Democrat. No, I'm a Republican. No, again, I've seen it when you're talking about the coach philosophy.
Yeah.
We have a coach in Franklin, Blair Wilson, whose philosophy is so akin to what you were just talking about. His philosophy, he's a football coach, and he came up through the ranks to the middle school, now the high school football coach. His philosophy is, I teach 25% football, I teach 75% life.
Yeah.
And he teaches these kids skills, and they trust him. They regard him more as a father figure. They want to succeed for him. They want to excel for him because he makes them feel viable.
Yeah.
And I see that emanating from Kamala Harris and from Governor Trump. That I think their humanity overrides all of the above. And if this does not have a homogenizing effect over the entire country, we have no hearts left. But we do.
Oh, and I know Coach Wilson has a lot of supporters. I've seen them when I was on the school board and beyond, and he does a great job with our kids, both on the team and off the team in the school, and how he inspires Franklin High School and the Warriors. So I think that's great. I mean, the other thing that's interesting is I think the difference between Donald Trump and how he came to run for president. You know, yesterday they talked about the golden escalator that he rode down to make his announcement. But it's not surprising when a billionaire wants more power, wants to get into politics. What is surprising is when you have two immigrant parents like Kamala Harris has, and they have a kid who rises through lots of public service jobs and finds herself on the biggest stage in the world, campaigning for the biggest and most important job in the world to protect not only America, but to protect all of the international things that we care about, our relationship with other nations, because as we said yesterday, a rising tide lifts all boats. When Ukraine is safe, Poland is safe, and America is safer, right? This is what she understands. And the same thing for Tim Walz. You know, he wasn't a person, growing up, and we're all learning more about him. You know, he's not someone it's famous, he didn't have autobiographies written about him or movies or anything like that. But, he's a regular guy from a small town who just followed his heart in public service as a teacher, and then into politics, and did the work, and suddenly now is in this vice presidential running role, and we hope he's successful. And that means he understands so much more of what everyday Americans are experiencing. And I think it's easier to make a connection, but also support policies that are for everybody. When you grow up in a coddled environment, that's more of a struggle. I can't say that people with wealth can't do that. I can say Donald Trump hasn't shown to have cares for regular everyday folks that are struggling, and just makes all kinds of assumptions and supports terrible policies that don't give folks a leg up or give them opportunity. Project 2025 and eliminating the Department of Education is a perfect example. Education is the key to future success. Without really good schools, we're in trouble. Those kids are our future. That's why I went into teaching. I loved chemistry. I love working with my students. They get that. Donald Trump wants to eliminate it. He can say he doesn't know what Project 2025 is, but he rides on jet planes with the authors. I mean, it's ridiculous. Right. And I love the moment when the Saturday Night Live actor came out with a big book, and there's a little technical glitch. It reminded me of the other night with you guys. But, it was kind of fun way to talk about a really serious topic. And I think that's really what we're here to do, is sort of outline that and have a chance to explain it to people. There couldn't be more of a contrast between Tim Walz and J.D. Vance. So, that's another piece that wasn't lost on anyone.
I think that the chief difference that's becoming more and more evident is that it's an I mentality rather than a we mentality.
Yeah.
And we're seeing so much of that we, of the hands being held together. And regardless what that hand has seen and the strife of one family or another family, we're seeing beyond that. We're all striving and in strife at one point of our life. And here's an opportunity to be seen. That's, again, one of Oprah's points, that Kamala Harris sees you. That's impressive.
Yeah.
That's impressive. Got global responsibility, obviously, but that she sees humanity from her perspective and from the perspective values and cultures across. It's energizing, and it's almost.
I could see a show sort of cooking with Kamala. I mean, if you heard the story, I was like, oh, she'd be fun to cook with. It's sort of that beer test. Can you feel comfortable going to the bar and having a beer with this person and having a chat? And I feel like all the folks that are speaking today, I see them on the floor. We get a chance to talk to them outside of that very, that podium and the distance and the cameras and the lights. And they're all just great human beings having real conversations, asking you, like, why are you here? How did you get here? What do you work on? What issues are important to you? And then, people are trying to solve some problems and giving out their cards and seeing how they can work together for people that are in need and problems that need to be solved. Less than, sort of these, conversations that are just a distraction. They don't actually solve any problems. And we also know Donald Trump was in the White House for 4 years and didn't accomplish very much. He gave tax breaks to the rich, spent a lot of money, put us in a lot of debt, and was not able to get things that mattered, like the infrastructure bill passed. Infrastructure week after infrastructure week. He didn't put an art of a deal together. Joe Biden did that. And that is going to work fixing bridges and roads across the nation. New Jersey is benefiting, and that's great. And of course, the Inflation Reduction Act, the biggest investment in climate change ever. We got that through. I mean, the guy knows how to pass legislation, and Kamala was there every step. And so we know that she's going to continue in that vein. But we got to win the election. And this is all nice and building energy, getting it out there. But the real work, starts when the convention ends and we get into post-Labor Day, getting out to communities, particularly this morning at breakfast. Governor Shapiro from Pennsylvania spoke and said, come on into Pennsylvania. We need the help. Come and knock doors, talk to neighbors. Pennsylvanians, they need to have conversations. They're going to be with us, but they might be just a little disconnected or disillusioned and hearing misinformation. And so I think there's a lot of us that plan to get out there. Bucks County, outside of Philadelphia, and there's a lot of options. So,
yeah, well, that's the state that we must win, or that must be won. I'm not going to say we, except in the context of this party seems to be a we party, not an I party.
Yeah.
Again, because I am a registered Republican, I have been in a position to have to emphasize that to a couple of naysayers recently. But I don't wear that as a label. I wear that as an affiliation. But I will always, as Oprah suggested and identified for me personally tonight, I will always lead with my own values. I will never vote party. I will always vote candidate and platform. And I think leading with your heart is what this particular party is espousing. And as we look at that, this is a humanity, a humanity development that we're all. Here we are. And anyway, I can go on and on about it. Bill, you need to say something.
So Ed, is that still the Minnesota delegation being rowdy?
It looks like if you can look over my shoulder, I think you can see them. There's a lot of camera lights, I think.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
They're all doing interviews, with national TV. About, how do you know Tim? What was he like? What kind of light bulb did he change on his car? All that kind of stuff. I mean, these are things you don't know, right?
Sure.
And this is part of why a convention exists in the modern day, how the story is told to the public so they can get a better understanding of somebody's moral character, what they bring to the role that they're seeking, and make an evaluation. And people should look into all those details. But, I'm very pleased with what I've been seeing. I think Kamala made a great choice. There were other choices that were also very strong, but I'm thrilled with the coach, and I think he's going to do a great job. And if we can get him elected, and I plan to do everything I can to help with that.
What did you think of Mayor Pete?
Oh, he was great. I mean, every single time, Mayor Pete is just fantastic. I loved his opening line. You know me from Fox News. I mean, he breaks the stuff down. and pushes back against all this stuff that are trying to be gotcha questions, and
Yeah.
he doesn't take their crap, and he lays it out with the facts. I mean, Bill Clinton said it, and you got to remember, Democrats since the '89 have created 50-1 jobs in America over their
That was-
presidencies. Come on,
Oh,
people
my
need to know that. People
Yeah,
need
that was
to know. I didn't know that. So
Interesting
Mayor,
stat.
yeah, Mayor Pete does a great job breaking down, and everyone in the crowd here is, Pete. It's very exciting.
Yeah. So you told us last night that you were going to be going to some seminars or workshops today.
I was a working man today.
Oh,
I was
were ya?
catching up. I was catching up on work. It's been piling up. So, and I did take a nap. I have to be honest. I skipped the lunch, which was another networking opportunity to get some shut eye. I can't do really well on 4 hours of sleep. Breakfast starts at 7:30. So
7:30.
yeah. After I get back, I don't wind down enough to actually fall asleep.
Sure.
Yeah,
So
Mhm.
so I'm like, and then by the time I fall asleep, it's like, the alarm's going off. I got to run downstairs. I got to see
Right.
everyone else. And the day just starts and you get on this little spinny wheel. So I did miss some things, but I'm here for the main attraction. So
Right.
Let
Which is
me-
tomorrow.
Whoops. Sorry. Go ahead, Bill.
I said, which is tomorrow.
tomorrow is the big day because
Yes.
tomorrow is the acceptance speech for the nomination from Kamala Harris. And I think, the build up to that is going to be quite substantial. And I don't know what other surprises they're going to drop in. Oprah was not on the list.
Oh, really?
So she just appeared out of nowhere. I'm hopeful we get some other cool surprises.
I'm reading rumors about Taylor Swift.
Well, that would be pretty cool because
Well, she's in high support. Of
yeah,
Trump.
well,
Right.
what's interesting is Trump tweeted fake support, but besides that, that's not surprising.
Yeah.
It's funny that it's funny, but you can't get a ticker for one of her concerts, so to be here
Right.
for a $3,000 ticket, that was scalped and it should have been $90 or $100
Right.
would be a pretty cool thing. So
Yeah.
I'll look forward to that if it happens. If it doesn't, I will not be disappointed, except for it would be really cool because what we're here to do is tell the story of Kamala Harris.
Sure.
And so that's the main attraction. But I've loved the entertainment. It's been great.
But it from less from an entertainment perspective, but for the influence that she bears to an age demographic, to a demographic of a vast musical background, that she brings an audience to this level of politicking, and that she embraces it. And Taylor Swift was also one of the first, perhaps the first, to challenge Spotify in that it is a streaming platform where composers reap millipennies for their compositions, whereas larger organizations such as Spotify, who will present the exposure, which is the word, when an artist who has put out his or her own music and gets no remuneration, but the parent organization is reaping the benefits. She pulls her catalog.
Yeah.
She
Well,
stood up for musicians, for composers and artists. And that always stuck with me. She's not necessarily my first choice musically, but ethically, she has a lot to say. And the fact that she has stood very solidly behind Kamala Harris is a vision for others to emulate.
I haven't seen that, but it wouldn't surprise me if it's true. I hope it is, because I like to be on the same side as Taylor Swift. So that sounds good to me.
Okay.
Yeah, you don't want the Swifties coming after you. That's not a...
No, I watched her documentary. I didn't know what song. I'm kind of pop culture illiterate sometimes. I don't know what songs that I liked that were hers or weren't. But I watched the documentary. I was very impressed with her character, her relationship with her family.
Exactly.
The things that you mentioned about the business decision. Right. Her tour. It's going to be $1 billion tour, and they're going to sell $2 billion worth of goods. In the course of that year, she's going to be a $3 billion enterprise. I mean, she's also a good businesswoman, that's amazing.
Her ethic is
she's
what
a
I was
good person.
driving at. Her
She's a good
ethic
person.
is so solid in her support of other musicians who are not at her level, but who have opportunity to be creative and have that creativity exploited. She was protesting that, and I will forever be honoring her level. So when she shows up, I think that's going to be a tremendous statement for Kamala Harris.
We got Senator Booker over my shoulder here.
Oh, there's
also doing. I don't know where it is.
He's doing
another interview.
He was just on MSNBC. other impressions of the festivities tonight?
I think it was really cool that Andy Kim got a chance to speak
Yeah.
and tell his story. I mean, that was really touching for the New Jersey delegation. Obviously, having Cory Booker run the second half of this convention has been really cool. He's great on his feet. He's like a natural. I don't know if he's reading from the script either. It doesn't seem like it. And he had a great, perspective to share as well. He's moving around the stage, keeping everybody engaged, and more endearing for our state, which is awesome. To turn the page on Senator Menendez and his resignation, and Andy's story, about his kid. I don't know if you saw his tweet, but he got his kid a blue suit that matched the one that he wore on the day on January 6th, and so. He's like, Dad, I want to wear my first suit, and they came together into the convention center. So this is how he's raising his family in that patriotic way, and it was really nice for our state. I think we were really well showcased on the third day.
Yeah, he was the one who was cleaning up the broken glass in the
That's correct.
rotunda, right? Yeah. Okay.
So, but that's it for day three. I look forward to recapping the big day tomorrow.
The big day tomorrow.
Celebrating.
Going to be very exciting. We're so thrilled that we have our little town of Franklin Township, not so little, represented by you, Ed.
Well, there's a few other people that are here from Franklin, so I think I got to catch. Maybe we can catch them. I can be more organized. Chanel's here. Chanel Robinson.
Chanel's here? Oh, I didn't know that.
And we also have Democratic Chair Ron Jordan. In addition to Rich Rogers, as I mentioned.
No
So everyone takes off afterwards, but I think I can try to pull them together. Maybe share a few words at the end.
Tomorrow.
They're all delegates?
Yes, let's do that.
Delegates, I think the chairman is on the credentials committee.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Okay, absolutely. If you can round them up for tomorrow, being that tomorrow's the final day and the big.
Thank you. I'm sorry. They're cleaning up. Yeah, these are mine. That's not mine. Yeah, I'll take it for them though. Thanks.
Gotta clean the joint up. Yeah, good. Yeah, if you can corral them tomorrow, absolutely. We'd love to talk to them. That'd be fun to get their perspective on the 4 days.
Well, the large representation from Franklin Township in Somerset County, New Jersey. I think that is awesome.
That is awesome. How many delegates are there from New Jersey? Did we ask you that?
It's something like 134.
Okay.
So, 5 from Franklin. They were not delegates, but, folks that are attending. It's pretty cool. But we feel very comfortable with each other. We get to see each other all the time. And people are doing lots of different activities. So it's not like we're holding hands and walking together. But I think we could do a quick spot at the end of the night.
Sure.
We can
it would be wonderful to speak with people who represent our community so well.
Absolutely.
Awesome.
Self leading the pack right now. So thank you so much for that, Ed.
Thank you for coming on again for the third night in a row. You're going to be a regular correspondent pretty soon.
I feel pretty comfortable except for my arm.
Going to have to get you a press card.
All right. We'll talk to you guys. Thanks so much.
Deputy Mayor Ed Potosnak, thank you so much. And we will see you tomorrow night.
All right.
See you tomorrow night.
Big night.
Okay. Take care.
Ed
Bye-bye.
Potosnak, Franklin Township Deputy Mayor.
All right.
Oh, I didn't realize that Chanel was there.
I had no idea.
Yeah, and Ron Jordan.
Or Ron Jordan.
Rich Rogers, I did know he was going.
Oh, did you?
Yeah. But I had no idea Ron was going to be there. Chanel, there's not a surprise. Of course, Chanel could be there. But that we have that kind of representation on a national stage like that is it's just really awesome. It's just an awesome convention.
Good memories for them.
Just on so many levels, the heartwarming, the hominess of the philosophy that seems to be prevailing.
Well, it's all choreographed. It's all very, very tightly scripted, but they're doing they're doing a nice.
You don't script heart. You can script verb, but you can't script heart, and you could feel that. Anybody who got on that stage, you just could. Well, I did. I was touched by it.
Maybe I'm just old and cynical. But.
Oh, well, maybe a little bit of the cynical. You aren't old. Maybe you're older, but
I'm older.
That doesn't enter into the context of. It's not about the I. It's not about Kamala Harris winning the election for Kamala Harris' sake. She truly.
I believe she's. a good public servant. I think she's in it for the right reasons. Yeah, I mean, who knows?
I totally agree.
Been around politics for so
that-
long, I get fooled sometimes. But
and that's what her reputation has been, and I think she represents a good part of this country that has not been well represented. So it's going to be an interesting ride. I think she has a huge chance to be becoming the first woman president who happens to be biracial or triracial.
The first one, biracial.
Triracial, actually.
How is she triracial?
Well, she's white, she's black, she's Indian.
She's white?
There's white in her family as well. Nonetheless, what we have before us is brand new.
Yep.
Brand new and never before. And truly embodies what America is all about. We are so multicultural, and we are so fortunate in Franklin Township to have that microcosm of the multiculturalism that we have here. And most anybody who might be watching this knows that there's 70 houses of worship in Franklin, 70 plus, and over 70 languages that are spoken daily throughout the community. And it's just the observation and the hand holding and the sharing. And I see that on this stage tonight. It's really heartwarming.
All right. Well, folks, if as usual, if you want to get the lowdown on what's going on in Franklin Township, all you need to do is point your browser with your tablet or your computer or your phone to franklinreporter.com, our news website that in about, what is today? What's today's date anyways? Today, 22nd? Today, 22nd. A week from today, we'll be celebrating its 11th year of existence.
Wow.
franklinreporter.com. So that's, and I still remember the night we went live because I've been writing stories for 3 weeks, sort of undercover, not telling anybody what I was doing. I actually lied to the mayor, who wasn't the mayor yet. He was still just a councilman. But he came over and I was at a council meeting, and he came over to me and introduced himself and asked me why I was there. I said,
"Who the heck are you?"
I said, "I'm just a resident." So I didn't tell him what I was really there. I didn't tell him what I was really there doing. But yeah, 3 weeks of going to school board and council meetings and other meetings, and writing the stories and putting it all together, putting it up on the site. And I had it as a test site for a while first, and then when it came time to transfer from the test, they call it the sandbox, transfer from the sandbox to the actual live site, something screwed up and nothing went over. And I had to recreate everything from scratch at like 3 o'clock in the morning.
Oh my goodness.
That was fun. But yeah, so seven days from today, we will be in existence for
11 years.
11 years at franklinreporter.com. Now, to support franklinreporter.com and also the monthly digest newsletter, Noticias del Mes, not Franklin monthly digest newspaper, monthly newspaper, and Noticias del Mes, which is the Spanish version of the newspaper, and also franklinreporter.com, and also our morning report. To support that, we rely on advertisements, and PJ Parker is the person that you want to talk to if you feel so inclined to support us with advertising, and we hope you do. And the way you get in touch with her is ads@franklinreporter.com. If you have a story or you have something that happened to you and your family you think is merits a story, or just something going on, or a criticism, email me at editor@franklinreporter.com. And you can also see us obviously on social media, where you're probably watching now, Facebook, or on YouTube. You might be watching us on YouTube right now as well. We go live both to YouTube and Facebook. We're on the Insta, Franklin_reporter_and_advocate, and TikTok. Don't forget TikTok, Franklin_reporter. And I guess I'm going to get us on Threads too, because that seems to be where all the cool kids are. So
yeah, that's the Insta partner.
Yeah. So there we have it. Another night, another nice report from, we used to do this. We did this the first time in 2016. And our former mayor, Brian Lowy, God, I knew I was going to do that.
Brian Levine.
Brian Lowy is a friend of mine from college. Brian Levine Brian Levine, but Brian Lowy actually knows Brian Levine's sister-in-law. We all went to college together. But anyway, beyond that. Oh, and Brian Levine's brother, who also went to college at where I went to college. But anyway, Brian Levine, who was our former mayor at the time, was a freeholder before the freeholder became the commissioners. Brian went to wherever the Republican National Convention was that year. I don't remember. But I asked him if he would be our correspondent. He sent very nice dispatches every night after the festivities had ended, and he just talked about his impressions and what happened during the course of the evening, and it was really good. And I had a point in bringing that up, and I can't remember what it was. But I guess my point was, obviously these things happen every 4 years, and they're national in scope, and we're really Franklin Township related. But if somebody from Franklin is going to this, then why not, take advantage of that connection? So that's why I asked Brian. There was no local Democrat that I'm aware of
At the time. Right.
At the time that had gone to the 2016 convention. 2020 was weird because it was COVID and who knew what, and I don't even remember the 2020 convention, to be honest with you. But I didn't know of anybody either on the Republican side or the Democratic side who went to the respective conventions. So we really didn't have any coverage of it. And then this year, we found out that Ed was going. Obviously, more people went than we knew about, and there was nobody that we knew of from Franklin who went to the Republican National Convention. So we had no coverage of that. But and if they had been, we would have said, "Hey, do you want to send us something, or we can do this live stream with you too?" I mean, no big deal. But there was nobody that we knew who went. So that's before you get your your hair on fire, because we're covering the Democratic National Convention. That's why.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway,
well, one of the points that I keep trying to emphasize is that yes, we're wearing these labels of Democrat and Republican and Independent and whomever, Libertarian. That we're wearing these labels that are narrowing in their scope as opposed to all embracing in their scope. And I think what I have been feeling as a result of this convention, it's falling under the political headline of the Democrats, but we are all of this gigantic stage tonight. I felt such unity. It just felt like we are all in this together, and the labels be damned. They're almost irrelevant. Mm-hmm. When it comes down to philosophical differences, we're all of the same hearts. We're all of the same blood composition. You cut me, I'm going to bleed as red as you. And when it comes right down to it, aren't we better off as a nation, certainly better off as a community, if we think of the other as just as important as ourselves? Again, the embodiment of the word we as opposed to the word I. Mm-hmm. I think that's a fundamental difference of what's going on in politics right now. Well, so I'm thrilled to have somebody like Ed Potosnak out there representing from that perspective, because he's been a very brave man on a lot of levels, politically speaking, and he's contributed so much to the community with his activities on the school board. He's now the deputy mayor on the town council. He's the head of the League of Conservation Voters. He moves and he shakes. And it is not for Ed Potosnak. It is for Ed Potosnak's community. Mm-hmm. He does what he does.
He's a good guy.
He's versatile and he's kind. Mm-hmm. I think if we can take away something from what I have seen, my perspective is that this is all about the other and the kindness factor. Mm-hmm. If we can be kind to each other, oh my gosh, what a revelation. What a benefit to all of us.
Well, George Washington did not want parties. He did not want political parties because he predicted that what would happen is exactly what's happening, that people would
divide.
Would what?
Divide.
Well, no, then they would be beholden to the party as opposed to the country, and it would be party first, country second, and that's exactly what has happened on both sides of the aisle. It's party first. Mm-hmm. So George Washington had it right, but he didn't have his way. I think that's going to do it for tonight.
I would like to just invite you, Franklin, if there is something that you feel is significant that the rest of your community should know about, if you have excellence that's happening in your family or your immediate circle that you would love for the community to know about. These are the kind of stories that make Franklin Franklin. And from day one, 11 short years ago, our mission has been and will continue to be, we bring Franklin to Franklin. And it's up to you, Franklin, to let us in on those little pieces or those big pieces of your lives that Franklin will benefit from in the knowing. So we're here to help spread the knowing. So if you have ideas, if you have stories to tell, and if there are ideas of issues that you would like us to explore, please, again, editor@franklinreporter.com. You'll reach Bill Bowman, or ads@franklinreporter.com. That's me. That's PJ Parker. We collaborate on both levels. Bill is out there talking advertising, and I'm doing broadcasting. So our functions overlap, and we welcome your contributions, and we welcome the thanks that we've gotten from so many of you. And one of the biggest compliments that we still giggle about, you guys are everywhere. Oh my God, you're everywhere. Well, there's two of us, and we try to be as everywhere as we can be. But thank you for recognizing that we are as everywhere as we can possibly be. And we need your help to create the rest of the everywhere. If we don't know about it, we can't talk about it. So please feel free to contact us with your thoughts and with your ideas. Help us to reach that many more Franklinites, and just keep the word going that we are one of the most solid, diverse, and hand-holding, neighborly communities that I've ever been a part of. And I'm very proud to be here.
Okay.
So for your support.
Yes, thank you. So that'll be it for this evening. We're going to be coming back, obviously, tomorrow night to have the ultimate follow-up with Ed and hopefully the rest of the folks from Franklin who are there, and Cody. Until then, Franklin Township, stay safe. PJ, say that thing you always say.
We will be back.
See ya.